Nigeria Info.
We connect you to the world. We connect you to the vicinity. We are Nigeria Info.
Listen to me. I said this is a real situation and the government has to do something about it.
What are you trying to insinuate? All these people looting Nigeria's money?
This is Nigeria Info in the heart of Nigeria.
92.3.
We are Nigeria Info.
What we do goes beyond bringing you the news. We give you a chance to talk about it. Your opinion, your voice.
This is 92.3 Nigeria Info, Port Harcourt.
Your number one news, talk, and sports radio station.
And now, Hard Facts. Hard Facts with Dio.
Hello, good afternoon to you, and welcome to today's edition of Hard Facts, originally live from your number one talk news and sports radio station, 90.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. 10 minutes gone past 3 p.m. and you're welcome to today's edition of the show. I hope you had a fine Wednesday so far. Yep, it is the midweek edition of the show, and as always, feels good to be here every single time. Now, especially on Wednesdays, where we get to discuss the progressive development of the Niger Delta region. And once again, in today's edition of, on today's edition of Canvas and Niger Delta Roundtable, we're going to be doing precisely that as well, discussing the progressive development of the Niger Delta region. That comes up between 4 p.m. And 5 p.m. as usually is the practice. And remember, it's brought to you by SPDC. For about 4 years now we've been having these conversations. I do hope, and I feel quite certain, by the way, that it is having the much desired impact and effect. I really do believe so. Well, looking forward to another conversation on the subject matter today, and you're of course very much welcome to be a part of it as well. And talking about Canvas and Niger Delta Roundtable. I know, okay, we'll get to that in the 4 o'clock hour, absolutely so. And but before then, if you other matters are up for discussion on the show today, yes, indeed, we've got side comments in a moment, random stories and random thoughts of mine on some random stories I came across earlier today, which reminder not to be discussed now until much later on, especially during the open season segment of the show, which comes up after the major news at 6 p.m. And after that, I do have a rant as well, as usual. Some sort and some issue. I'll be getting your take on that to 4 o'clock. 4 p.m. business news comes up, and as I mentioned a while ago, Canvas and Niger Delta Roundtable afterwards. Taking us till 5 o'clock when we've got the news update, and then discussions continue. Another ASU strike on the horizon is what we're discussing today. What to make of that development. ASU is threatening yet another strike indeed. Another one. Well, here's the story from off our bulletin earlier on today. ASU Port Harcourt Zone has threatened to embark on a strike over the federal government's non-implementation of the 2009 agreement. At a media conference in Port Harcourt, Zonal Coordinator Stanley Ogun called for the signing of the 2009 renegotiated agreement. Now, he also said the union is yet to receive a 50 billion naira and academic allowance on the revitalization fund. Let's hear what Stanley Ogun had to say on this development, what appears to be another potential indefinite ASU strike.
The key or critical burning issues bothering our mind are number one, the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement. You won't believe that right from 2009, we're still earning the same salary up to today when inflation has skyrocketed. And salaries have been reviewed in the various sectors, but in the university system, we're still begging, and government is unwilling getting that agreement signed. The revitalization fund, which was created to arrest the infrastructural decay in the public university system, has never been paid to our union.
Ogun called on the federal government to adopt the University Transparency and Accountability Solution UTAS platform for the payment of its salaries and other entitlements. So we'll discuss this in the 5 o'clock hour. I'd like to get your take on this latest threat of an indefinite strike action by ASU. No doubt several talking points here, but should ASU embark on another strike? An indefinite, this one is called. I think it was on the news, was it yesterday or a couple of days ago? Some ASU, some top ranking, I suppose, ASU member saying that this strike is going to be truly indefinite. I think I saw that on one of them dailies, that this one is going to be truly indefinite and the strike will not be called off until all the issues are truly and finally resolved. What do you think? Get your take once again in the 5 o'clock hour. After the news update, we got headlines at 5:30 p.m. and major news at 6 p.m. Open season once again after that. If you miss out on any matter discussed on the show, I'll take your thoughts till about 7 o'clock when the show comes to an end. And that will be a wrap for the show today. 7 o'clock features Extra Time with the Sports Gang, where they bring you news and discussions from major sporting activities the world over. So, let's get the show running right now with today's side comments, random stories, random thoughts. That caught my attention earlier on today. A reminder, this side comments are not to be discussed at this time. Just a reminder. Well, let's start with this one. The River State House of Assembly has passed. Okay, I think I talked about this yesterday briefly. So congratulations. We've got, I think, it's a budget of consolidation. Here's hoping that this budget and its implementation and its transparency rankings will be several notches higher than the previous budgets released by this administration since the first term, I do believe. Since was it 2015? Yeah, I think since 2015 or 2016, because that's when I think this government began, issuing its own budget since 2016, I believe. An illegal oil refiner says people are ready to sacrifice their lives to sustain the activity despite the prevalence of suits in the state. Now, speaking anonymously, he told our correspondent that the business has helped a lot of families financially. He expressed disappointment over the rising cost of goods in the market, saying lack of money is what has pushed many of them into the coal fire business. Let's hear what this illegal oil refiner had to say about the lack of money, which, according to this individual, is a reason for indulging in this illegality.
Government they help us. If government they help jobs for young men to do, then maybe they give loan to market women, mama then they do business. I think to an extent, papa mama go put us together, picking go school instead of after secondary school, if further education, then go begin enter river. Up till now, civil servants do they cry. Up till now, they don't pay salary. Some of them, their salary, they buy one business of Gary for house, they don't end. They don't even spend them for 2 weeks. Things they cost per day. The disadvantage is at least this black suit, now danger to our health. But then, if they look the hazard, hungry, they kill you. So it's better you chop, then you die, than you no chop, you go die.
Well, understandably, the economy is tough. It's harsh. Even people who have jobs, who have salary-paying jobs, or who have businesses that they're running that earn them a living, are having a very tough time right now. But the fact of the matter is, it's still an illegal activity, and I'm sure that armed robbers can also give the excuse that there are no jobs and government isn't helping people. And kidnappers can also give the excuse that there are no jobs and government isn't helping people. And I think it was Sheikh Gumi as well, who popularly or unpopularly explained that bandits, now terrorists, were engaging in those in the act of banditry, or now called terrorism, because they were angry and because they had no jobs and the economy was bad. So there's always an excuse to engage in some illegality, but it still makes it illegal, and there is no excuse that can justify any act of illegality, including illegal oil refining. The profile operator criticized the Rivers State government for not investing in human capital development.
Like governor now, they do project everywhere, flyover. When they fly over the bridge, they're waiting. We have human capital development there. At least if you train somebody, say maybe Agon welder, and then the job there for them to do, money there, that bridge where they build, they go fees and buy the least keke drive past there. Because flyover, no real person go carry leg, they go past. So if they be big flyover, then the people now know they develop mentally and morally, financially they know they're equipped. How do we use now? They make use of this infrastructures where the government they build.
Well, interestingly, even the profile operator understands the concept of human capacity development, and he identifies that a lot needs to be desired as far as the River State government is concerned. And yes, maybe a lot needs to be desired, or a lot, a lot has not been accomplished by the federal government as well, and one can say that also. But well, the question still is a very valid one, or the contention is a valid one. And the question is, what really has been done as far as human capacity development in Rivers State is concerned? Really, the argument has emerged in the past that jobs have been created by virtue of these various road projects and flyovers being constructed. But the fact of the matter is that flyover construction cannot be considered job creation, because while some persons are no doubt engaged, usually at menial labor or low-level labor capacity while this construction work is ongoing, what happens when the construction work inevitably comes to an end? They're thrown back into the labor market. So a lot more can be done, really. A lot more can be done. How many jobs are being created? How many? I think even from the NBS data, we have incredibly high unemployment figures in the country, no doubt about that. And one of these states with the highest numbers as far as that's concerned is Rivers State, which is quite shocking indeed, considering the economic potentials. Well, every state, the entire country has economic potentials, no doubt about that. But the fact of the matter is that some states have more of those potentials than others. And Rivers State has enormous economic potentials. So why aren't these potentials being translated into thriving industries, and not just the oil and gas industry, but other industries thriving? And even as far as the oil and gas industry is concerned, other, businesses, what's the term I'm looking for right now, that are associated with the oil and gas industry, why aren't they thriving? Which inevitably would lead to a job creation. Maybe the question, the issues also border on the ease of doing business. Are people really, are investors willing to put their money here? If they're not, the question is why? Do we have a blueprint to ensure that we can improve the ease of doing business here in Rivers State or in Port Harcourt? What are we doing to ensure that businesses are able to thrive and to woo investors into the state beyond building flyovers, and ensuring that jobs are being created for younger, not so young persons out there? These are very important issues that any government needs to be looking into, really. And as far as the suit is concerned, complaints of swollen, itchy, irritating eyes are on the rise in Port Harcourt due to the prevalence of soot particles in the air. And this was made known by an optometrist, Stella Maris Ojogbu, who explained that when the soot particles come in contact with the eyes, it causes hypersensitivity in the eyes. And Dr. Maris said recent complaints of eye irritation by Port Harcourt residents are not caused by bacteria but by unwanted foreign bodies in the eye. Let's hear what Dr. Maris had to say about this no doubt very, very disturbing situation, and one that calls for urgent, extremely urgent attention indeed.
Whenever the eyes come in contact with objects that are not supposed to be in the eye, the mast cells begins to fight because it's the body's soldier cells. So when this happens, we have what we call hypersensitivity reaction. The eye begins to react violently. So we've been having a lot of this case in Port Harcourt. I have patients who come in and they're like, oh, I have been out of town and I just came in like a week ago and my eyes are irritated, itchy, red, water coming out and all that. So, and on checking, sometimes you may notice that, well, there is no bacterial infection.
So let's do something about this. And enough with the excuse that this is, what's that excuse again? It's on the exclusive list. No, suits cannot be on the exclusive list. It can be on the exclusive list. And there is nothing that is on the exclusive list that negatively affects the residents of Rivers State that the state government cannot wade into. That is on the exclusive list, or that the oil and gas industry or the petroleum industry is on the exclusive list, does not mean that if there are harmful consequences of that industry and residents of River State, the state government should just fold its arms and do nothing and hide behind it's on the exclusive list. No, it's not on the exclusive list. Suits cannot be on the exclusive list. If the federal government is engaged, even if the federal government itself is doing something that harms residents of River State, the state government has a responsibility to do something about it, and not say it's the federal government is on the exclusive list, so there's nothing we can do about it. But I also hope that the federal government lives up to its responsibility, and the agents of the federal government also do their jobs as far as squashing or quashing this illegal or refining trade in the state and wherever else it is thriving for that matter. So I think that's going to be it for today's side comments. Yeah, I suppose so. I'm not sure I've missed out very much. All right, so okay, that's about it for today's side comment. I go for a break right now. Commercial break. When I return, today's round comes up. Do please stay with us.
Information is a two-way thing. Nigeria Info, it's your turn. Let's talk.
What we do goes beyond bringing you the news. We give you a chance to talk about it. Your opinion, your voice.
This is 92.3 Nigeria Info, Port Harcourt.
Your number one news, talk, and sports radio station.
Our freedom depends on our proactive responsibilities.
Let's talk, act, and be about development.
With one voice, our potential is realized. This is your number one news, talk, and sports radio station. 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am listening.
A clean surrounding is a collective effort.
Diseases could be avoided
with good hygiene practice. Be more responsible with how you dispose waste products. The environment will be better looking without litter and exposed garbage. We love our city clean. This message is from 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Keeping up with political issues and developments around you only on Nigeria Info.
And now, hard facts. Hard facts with Diode.
Welcome back to Hard Factor 91.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dial, and I'd like to run for just a bit. I've got something in my mind. I'd like to express a few thoughts on it, and you're very welcome to express your thoughts and mine all the way till 4 p.m. We got 28 minutes to go before 4 o'clock. Now, the essence of my run today, or my thoughts, is to remind Nigerian governments to place Nigeria first. Place Nigeria first, and in so doing, they will inevitably place Nigerians first. And when Nigerian government place Nigeria first, it means inevitably they'll be proactive as well in foreseeing and dealing with certain issues, so that certain problems, there are always going to be problems, there are always going to be challenges, and that's why we have leadership in the first place. That's the fundamental reason or essence of leadership, to solve problems. But there are certain problems that a nation need not deal with if the leaders simply place the country first or place the people first. And once again, it implies that they're going to be proactive, they're going to foresee certain problems, they're going to be proactive in dealing with them, so that those problems do not fester, and when they become an eyesore, or they do not fester and then become an eyesore, and as such they will not need to be dealt with later on. That probably explains why some countries of the world are light years ahead of Nigeria, because the kinds of problems that we're still dealing with, they don't even understand the existence of those problems. There are generations in different parts of the world that don't even understand the kind of problems that we are dealing with. For example, and this is just a slight digression. Malaria, for example. Malaria. There are citizens of the world, they are human beings who do not know what malaria is. And because the governments in their own country, the leaders in their country, have been proactive and have dealt with malaria. So they're onto other issues. Whilst, of course, here, we're still budgeting, is it hundreds of millions or is it billions to buy mosquito nets to deal with malaria. Yeah, so we need to put Nigeria first, leaders that is, and be proactive in dealing with our problems. I came across a headline earlier today from the Punch newspaper. FG confirms UAE slots for Air Peace. Airline awaits letter. I think stories cut to the Punch newspaper. Now here's the story. The Federal Ministry of Aviation on Tuesday confirmed that the United Arab Emirates had increased the flight slots allotted to Air Peace, Nigeria's largest commercial airline, to operate into UAE. But Air Peace insisted on Tuesday that it was still awaiting the official receipt of the reported letter from the United Arab Emirates on the concession of 7 flight slots to the carrier by the UAE government. Now, the carrier said although media reports had earlier stated that the UAE wrote to the airline on the development, there was no official notice to that effect as of Tuesday. But Director of Public Affairs, FMA, James Odaudun, told our correspondent that it was true that UAE had allotted increased flight slots to Air Peace. Quote, I can confirm that the story is true and that the UAE has increased the flight slots of Air Peace in the United Arab Emirates. However, the airline maintained that it had yet to receive any official letter to that effect, despite the letter being circulated online, which was reportedly written to the carrier by UAE authorities. If the UAE have conceded such numerous slots to us, they would normally write to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, since it's a matter between Nigeria and UAE. So I can't confirm that at the moment, but if need be, I'll definitely confirm it. I'm not aware such a letter got to us, although I've seen it flying around electronically. Now, this is quite remarkable indeed, because if you might remember that all of these issues about flying to UAE or not flying to the UAE erupted kind of recently, especially the issue of Air Peace or airlines flying to the UAE and the number of slots. So here's some background to it. Prior to now, the Emirates from the UAE was allowed, I think, 21 flights into Nigeria every week, I suppose. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Air Peace was allowed only 1 flight a week. 1 flight a week to the UAE. Now, whilst the Emirates were allowed to fly into almost anywhere they wanted to in Nigeria, especially Lagos and Abuja, Air Peace was only allowed 1 flight a week, and it was not even to Dubai, not to their major airport, but Sharjah or somewhere like that. Some secondary airport, not the major airport. For example, in Nigeria, our major airport is the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. You might say secondary airport is the Abuja airport. So Emirates flies into Lagos almost as often as they want to, even though they have, I think, 21 slots a week. But Air Peace had 1 slot a week, and not even direct link to Dubai. But not until recently did all of these come to the fore, and there was a huge brouhaha over it. And why did that happen? Reason is simple. The UAE, because of concerns about COVID, and maybe there were other underlying reasons, but the reason they put forward was concerns about COVID. You might remember that the UK, or Saudi Arabia, Canada, and possibly other countries put Nigeria and some other African countries, including South Africa, on a COVID-19 red list. Now, I'll come to that in a moment. But they placed Nigeria on a red list. The UAE did that as well, which meant that Nigerians or Nigerian airlines were not allowed to fly into the UAE. Now, that was a big issue. Of course, Nigeria and other African countries, South Africa inclusive, shouted blue murder, said this was apartheid of some sorts and all of that. However, the issue of flight into the UAE from Nigeria then became an issue, for me, an offshoot of this particular incident. And I'm coming to the COVID matter, or the red list matter at the moment. But now, so here's the issue. The question is, who signed that agreement? How is it possible that the Emirates was allowed 21 flights to Nigeria as against Nigeria's 1? In what universe or in what kind of scenario could that have been an agreement to have been reached in the first place? In what scenario could that have been seen as a fair situation where the Emirates was allowed 21 flights as against Nigeria's 1 slot? 21 slots to 1 slot is absolutely unthinkable, is preposterous, is ridiculous. Now, because we could have allowed something like this to happen in the first place, and that's why I think Air Peace recently applied for 3, but that was denied. That was declined. Now, with all that's played out so far, with all the threats, I think something happened. The Emirates, we also responded, and we cut the Emirates slot from 21 to 1 slot, or threatened to cut it from 21 slots to 1 slot. Of course, the Emirates needs to fly into Nigeria. So they said, okay, you know what? That's what reports say, because Air Peace still says they have not received official confirmation of this. But let's take it at face value. Let's say that it actually happened and the Emirates has conceded some extra slots. So what the reports we're getting right now, the Emirates has now said, okay, we're going to increase it from 1 to 7. From 1 to 7. And the question is, even if it's increased from 1 to 7, it's a lot better than when it was simply 1 slot, but 7 slot is still a far cry from 21 slots. Now, why the Emirates is allowed 21 slots to Nigeria, and Nigeria only has 7 slots to the Emirates, completely confounds me as well. But it's important to note once again that all of this came to the fore because, first and foremost, Nigeria was placed on a red list, and COVID-19 was blamed for that. Now, in case you're wondering what is the relationship or link between these two scenarios, well, I just explained one part of it. And the second part of it, which for me concerns the UK as well and possibly elsewhere, that's placed Nigeria on the red list, is now, with all that's happened, Nigeria then threatened and we huffed and puffed. And I talked about this quite recently, and I did get some reaction yesterday that situation was changed, and I did read up on some stories on it. And yes, it's been confirmed Nigeria and other African countries have been removed from that red list. Well, the UK's red list, that is. And the question is why? Why was Nigeria removed from that red list? Is it because we huffed and we puffed? Is it because we threatened to impose a red list on the UK as well, and Saudi Arabia and Canada and any other country that placed us on a red list? Is that the reason, really? And for me, the answer maybe not so clear. There could be several reasons for this, but it does seem to me that the answer for that is no. It does seem to me that the answer to that is no. Now, the UK, even at the height of Nigeria's huffing and puffing that the UK and other countries were going to be placed on a red list, the UK still insisted we're not going to reverse the travel ban over the FG's threat. You can find the story in the Punch newspaper. This was published a couple of days ago, December 13. The British High Commission on Sunday said the UK would not reverse its travel ban on Nigeria because of a threat of retaliation by the federal government. The spokesman for the British High Commission, Dean Horlock, said this in response to an inquiry by the Punch on Sunday over a statement by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, that the UK, Canada and Saudi Arabia will be put on Nigeria's travel ban on Tuesday. Horlock said that Britain had made it clear that travel abroad would be different this year, adding that the UK was sticking to its standard background lines. And the UK explained, by the way, what the standard background lines were. The UK explained why it placed Nigeria, and not just Nigeria, but some other countries on its red list as well. There was a criteria for this, and the UK said we did not meet this criteria, and that's why. Now, the UK has reversed that, has removed Nigeria from this red list, and the UK has also explained why it has done so. In this story from the BBC, UK removes all 11 countries from red list. Now, Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, Zambia and Zimbabwe are on that list. The red list was reintroduced in late November as a precaution after the emergence of the Omicron variant, but Health Secretary Sajid Javid said it had spread so widely the rules no longer had much purpose. Quote, now that there is community transmission of Omicron in the UK and Omicron has spread so widely across the world, the travel red list is now less effective in slowing the incursion of Omicron from abroad. Whilst we maintain our temporary testing measures for international travel, we will be removing all 11 countries from the travel red list effective from 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the UK explained initially why we placed these countries on the red list. And you can argue, there have been arguments that the science was not exact, the science was faulty, respect the science, it was apartheid. Maybe there are underlying reasons, I don't know. But the UK explained these are the parameters. You guys are not meeting up with certain standards or certain requirements on our part. And for that reason, to ensure the safety of our citizens, we're placing you on a red list. And Nigeria huffed and puffed and threatened retaliation as well. But the UK said, you know what, it doesn't matter. We're not going to take you off the red list anyways. Now, the UK has said, we are taking you off that list, but not because you huffed and puffed. This is the reason. We have community transmission right now. The spread is all over the world, so it doesn't make any sense any longer for us to put you on that list. Now, talking about putting Nigeria first and being proactive, what's the percentage of Nigerians who have been completely vaccinated right now? I think it's less than 2%, or definitely less than 3%. There's reports of many Nigerians, even at our airports, at least that was the case sometime not too long ago, procuring fake COVID vaccination cards. And at one time, it was reported that these fake vaccination cards were even being peddled at our international airports. And there are concerns about this. There are concerns about not enough persons getting vaccinated. There are concerns that even people who claim to have been vaccinated are simply procuring fake vaccination cards. Now, you can't have this scenario and this situation and not think that people in other countries are not going to be concerned that you might have a negative impact on their people or their society or their economies. It's inevitably going to happen. Why do we have ourselves in this situation? Because also successive bad governance. And that's why we find ourselves with a global pandemic that we are unable to deal with because we don't have the resources to do so. We don't have the capacity. We don't have the wherewithal. We don't produce vaccines on our own. We have to rely on donations because we can't even afford to buy half the number of vaccines that we actually need. But if we have proactive governments over time, over the years, who have built capacity, who ensure that we are able to save money, who have built our economy, and we produce vaccines here, for example. No doubt the COVID-19 pandemic had a huge effect globally, but it would not have affected us the way it has affected us right now. We will be able to vaccinate our citizens. We probably will be amongst the nations donating vaccines to other countries, but we can't do that. We can't even vaccinate our own people, let alone send vaccines to other parts of the world. If we're able to vaccinate our people and deal with this appropriately, very likely we would not have a situation as well. If we had proper systems and proper structures where people are selling fake vaccination cards even at our international airports. So there's so much that's happened in the last year or two, and that's happening even now as well. And for me, the reason is not because other countries hate us. And maybe they might hate us, but that's not the argument. That's not the topic of discussion here. It's not because they're racist, and maybe they are racist. I don't know. But the fact of the matter and the fundamental question is, how have we fared in addressing our own issues? How well have we performed in placing Nigeria first, in improving our economy, in building capacity, in ensuring that the Nigerian passport or the Nigerian citizen is respected globally? How well have we fared? What have we done with that? What have we done with that? So the UK has taken Nigeria off the red list right now. The question is, other countries that placed us on the red list, have they done that? Has Canada taken Nigeria off the red list? Has Saudi Arabia taken Nigeria off the red list? There was talk about placing these countries on our Nigerian red list. Are we doing that right now in spite of our huffing and our puffing? Or are we still in diplomatic discussions with Saudi Arabia and Canada and other countries as well? So for me, it's plain and simple. If you want to be taken seriously by other countries, you must first take yourself serious. You must first build from within. You can't do nothing, rely on other countries, rely on handouts and expect them to take you seriously, and think that when they take a decision that benefits their people but does not benefit you, just because you huff and you puff, they're simply going to say, okay, you know what, we made a huge mistake, you can have all that you want. It's not going to happen. The same way it's not happening even with the UAE right now, with the flight situation, because all they're offering, which AP said they've still not received, as at the last story I read, they've not received official communication on this, is that, okay, fine, we still get our 21 slots, you get 7 slots, which is a far cry from what you'd obtain. But the question once again is, have we built capacity? Even if we get the 21 slots, by the way, can we run 21 slots to the UAE every week? Can we do that? Do we have the capacity to do that? Do we? So there's a lot wrong, no doubt about that, and there are lots of inequalities the world over. In the Nigerian situation, people say politics is about interest. If politics is about interest, why not international diplomacy? International diplomacy must also be about interest. There is no way the UK or the Emirates or Saudi Arabia or Canada or any other country for that matter will place your interest at par with theirs, or even let alone higher, or at least at par with theirs. Your interests are always going to be subsumed to their interest. But at least if you give yourself some self-respect, if our leaders build capacity, if our leaders place Nigeria first, at least they might someday soon consider us as equals. On that note, I'm around. Thanks for listening. Hope you weren't bored. Let's get your take of mine. The numbers are the same line. Zero on call 0817 93 0002, 0817 93 0003, and 0817 93 0007. We're live on Facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. WhatsApp on 0809 030 6416. Keep it brief, straight to the point, and once the call is answered, please turn down the volume of your radio set. Hello, Hard Fact, welcome. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
All right, go ahead.
My name is Royal Alpha. On the first issue on suits.
No, that was not. Hello. If you can hear me, that was one of my side comments, not today's rant. So it's not for discussion right now.
Is that not part of your side comment?
Yes, it was.
Yes. It cannot be the exclusive preserve of the federal government to handle.
That's not to be discussed now. Sorry, I must move on. Hello, Hard Fact, you're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, for me, the UK has removed us. Yeah, we can come back to the UAE story later. They removed us based on the information they provided. But all what you listed, fake cards, so those things are still there. So why did they now remove us? I think it's more of they did decision based on irrational thinking, whether Koreanism or whatever. Because I remember that day you brought a medical doctor or somebody, and she explained that it was not based on science, what they did.
So Saudi Arabia
gone back to what ideally should have been.
You do realize that it wasn't the UK only that placed us on the red list?
Yes, Canada did, Saudi did.
Okay, so Saudi Arabia,
yes.
is it also colonialism?
No, they copied, well, I wouldn't say maybe they copied UK or copied Canada, whatever. But for me, what is required is what the government has done by threatening to put them also on red list. Whether they do it or not, that's another story. Because reality is, for us as a people, we have our issues. So what they can do is to put their procedures in place, whether it's testing, whether it's anything.
So why hasn't Saudi Arabia copied the UK yet? Or why hasn't Canada copied the UK yet?
We don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
We don't know. Maybe they will still do that. Or even if they don't do it, for me, all these things, this country, is the way we presented ourselves. That's why they've been dealing with us that way. So, like UAE, they've been running 21 because we don't have airlines to run it. Now we have Airpeace. Airpeace is doing that. I'm sure if you have
we weren't even given the slots. We weren't even given the slots in the first place. So it's not just it's not that we were given the slot and then we didn't have the airlines to run it.
No. The BASA agreement is 21, but we never had airlines that were ready to run that route. So when Airpeace started, they started with that one. Now they asked for 3 because they have new airlines to run it, and they denied them.
Precisely my point.
You said?
Okay, anyways. Your thoughts noted. I have to move on right down to the next caller. 91.3, hello.
Hello?
Hi, go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, go ahead.
Okay, yes. With respect to Airpeace and the UAE and the ban, it's just like you were saying, it's a shame. And most of the times when we take decisions, we don't even consider this country, Nigeria or Nigeria. How can people have 3 flights coming into Nigeria? I think 2 in Lagos, 2 in Abuja every day. I think return tickets. And Airpeace, the ridiculous thing about the Airpeace zone is that it was only on Thursdays. This is just about the least, when it comes to traffic, the least busy day in the week. At some point, I was reading information. I said at some point, they told them to be landing only by 9 a.m. They can't land before 9 a.m. They can't land after 9 a.m. It was so ridiculous. About people that maybe we even going to UAE 70% of the time is we going there to spend our money. So I think it's a good one for our own government here in the steps that we took. But it's also important, even as they are claiming that they have given APs 7 slots, and APs is denying, it's also important that we follow it to the latter. Because I don't understand. Okay, Emirates comes here 21 flights. Then if we have APs can even do half of what Emirates is doing, and even looking at it from the economic point of view, it gives us more foreign exchange. Because majority of the people who fly maybe either directly or people who are passing through here as transit, who can take some of foreign exchange through there, instead of paying those money to Emirates, a foreign exchange that is capped, we can get that through APs. So most of the times when our people think, or when our government think, just like the point of your discussion, they look as if they don't care about Nigerians, or they don't even care about the country. Their one is whatever, it is not benefiting me and my immediate family, every other person should go to hell. Where we are now is a good one, but it's also important that we follow it up to the later, that APs truly start going to Dubai, not UAE this time around, but landing in the commercial hub of UAE, which is Dubai.
Great to hear from you as well. Great to hear from you as well.
Just like the last comment.
Great to hear from you, sir. But I must move on. 90.3. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Dyer.
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, good day. Today's rant, I disagree with you.
That's fine.
Totally. You see, Nigeria is a great country. No matter what, we are not claiming equality with Britain. They might have given their reasons why they remove us from that list. But the truth still remains that they are trying to protect their own interests and their economy, which will be affected if Nigeria had imposed the travel ban on them. Yes, we are not equals. We are not dragging that. But they have so many businesses here which they are running. And any attempt by Nigeria to, stop flights from Britain to this country, it will heavily affect the economy, which is already wobbling. Britain's economy is wobbling, if you don't know. So they are trying to protect themselves too.
Okay.
Not those things they are saying. They will just say those things, but the truth is that they are afraid of the sanctions from Nigeria.
And how about Saudi Arabia and Canada?
Arab Emirates.
How about Saudi Arabia and Canada? They're not afraid of the sanctions.
No. They will still lift it. It's just a temporary thing. They will lift it. You see those countries you mentioned?
Yeah.
They will lift that ban. Just watch from now to 1 week's time.
No, the ban can be lifted. The ban can be lifted eventually, obviously. In fact, the ban inevitably will be lifted eventually. But our thinking that it's because we huff and puff is my concern here. Anyways,
it might be part of it. Britain will not come and tell you that because we want to ban them, that's why they are lifting. They will not. They will never say that due to pride. But the truth is that even as small as you think Nigeria is.
So why were? Oh, he's gone. So why were the other 10? I think there are 11 countries. No, why were the other countries removed as well? Is Britain afraid of all the other countries as well? Anyways, that's the much that I can take for this period. Thanks for joining the conversation. Sorry, I can't read any messages right now. I have to go for a break. We go business news 4 o'clock. Canvas and Air comes up afterwards. Please stay with us.